2. The story about the elder nun Khema. Etadagan bhikkhave mamasavikanan bhikkhuninan Mahāparinibbānasuttaṁ yadidan Khema. This is the foremost of my nun disciples, monastics, amongst those who have great wisdom, that is to say, Khema. The commentarial story. In the second story, Khema is the name of this nun. From here on, without saying this is the exposition concerning the inquiry into her previous deeds, placing the resolution at the beginning each time, we will say what should be said. Previous lives. In the past, at the time of the Buddha Padamutara, it seems, she was reborn in the city of Hamsawati and was owned by another. Then one day she saw that gracious one's chief disciple, the elder named Sujata, walking for alms, and gave him 3 sweetmeats. She had her hair shorn on that very day, gave a donation to the elder, and made this aspiration: when a Buddha is arisen in the future, may I, like you, have great wisdom. She did good deeds for the rest of her life, and being reborn amongst gods and humans only for 100,000 aeons, she was conceived in the home of Kiki, the king of Kasi, in the time of the Buddha Kassapa, and was one of 7 sisters. She lived as a celibate in the house for 20,000 years, and together with her sisters she had a dwelling place made for the one of 10 powers. She was then reborn amongst gods and humans only during one period when there was no Buddha. When this Gautama Buddha arose, she was conceived in a royal family in the city of Sargala in the country of Madda, and given the name Khema. Her last life. The radiance of her body glowed, as it were, with a golden hue. When she had reached maturity, she was taken to King Bimbisara's house. When the realized one was living near to Rajagaha in the bamboo wood, she, being intoxicated with her own beauty and thinking, the teacher, it appears, finds fault in beauty and he will see fault in my beauty, through fear didn't go to see the one of 10 powers. The king thought, I am the teacher's foremost attendant, and for one like me who is known as a noble disciple, that my chief consort does not go to see the one of 10 powers is not pleasing to me. After having the praises of the bamboo grove composed by the poets, he said, recite the poems within the hearing of Queen Khema. He who has not seen the delightful bamboo wood, the fortunate one's residence, has also not seen Nandana in Tavatimsa heaven. Such was my thinking. He who has seen the bamboo wood, rejoicing in the rejoicer of men, has also seen Nandana, greatly rejoiced in by the Lord of the gods Sakka. The gods, having abandoned Nandana and descended to the surface of the earth, after seeing the delightful Velavana, astonished, are not satiated with it. Through the king's merit it appeared, it is decorated with the Buddha's merit. Who could describe the great quantity of virtues of that wood? After hearing the praise of the grove, and gaining a desire to go, she put the question to the king. The king said, go to the grove, but without having seen the teacher, you will not receive permission to return. Without having given a reply to the king, she took the path to the grove. The king said to the men who were going with her, "If the queen, returning from the garden, sees the one of 10 powers, that is good. But if she does not see him, the royal command is, you must point him out." Then the queen, after walking in the grove in the daytime, and returning without seeing the one of 10 powers, was ready to go. But the king's men, against her liking, led the queen into the presence of the teacher. The teacher saw her coming, and with his spiritual power made an image of a heavenly angel, which took up a palm fan, and he made it look like she was fanning him. Having seen her, Queen Khema thought, "My conceit has perished. Such beautiful women, like unto heavenly angels, are standing not far from the one of 10 powers. I am not fit to be their servant. My wicked mind, supported by mad conceit, has perished." Grasping the image, she stood there looking at the woman. Then, as she was watching, through the power of the realized one's resolve, that angel passed beyond her youth, and from being in middle age, she passed beyond middle age, and was like one in old age, having wrinkled skin, grey hair, and broken and loose teeth. Then, as she was watching, the angel stumbled about together with her fan, and fell down. Then Khema, being endowed with the former conditions, as that sense object came within range, reflected thus: "Even such a beautiful body comes to misfortune. My body will also come to the very same misfortune." At the instant that she had that thought, the teacher spoke this verse found in the Dhammapada: "Those impassioned with passion run along with the stream, just as a spider runs along the web she has made herself. After cutting that off, the wise journey on without expectation, having abandoned all suffering." At the conclusion of the verse, while standing on that very spot, she attained liberation together with the analytic knowledges. For one who attains liberation while dwelling in the midst of the home life, she should either that very day attain final Nibbana or go forth. The Buddha, understanding the lifespan of her existence, said, "I will cause her to receive permission to go forth." After worshipping the teacher and going to the king's residence, she stood there without having worshipped the king. Through that sign, the king understood she must have attained nobility. Then he said to her, "Queen, have you been to see the teacher?" "Great king, only a little insight has been gained by you, but I have gained the one of 10 powers true insight. You must allow me to go forth." The king answered, "Very well, queen," and had her carried in a golden palanquin to the nunnery, and had her go forth. Then it was said of her, "The elder nun called Khema, while still a householder, attained liberation, and she became famous for her great wisdom." Khema speaks. Wearied of all processes, skilled in the modes of conditions, having overcome the 4 floods, I attained liberation. I have mastery over spiritual power, the divine ear element. I have mastery in knowledge of mind reading. I know my previous lives, have clarified the divine eye, destroyed all the pollutants. There is no continuation of existence. Right there, in meanings, conditions, language, and improvisation, my knowledge was purified. It arose within the Buddha's teachings. I was proficient in purification, mature in subjects for discussion, a knower of the abstract teaching method, attained to mastery in the teaching. Later, on the grounds in Torana, I was questioned by the Lord King of Kosala with deep questions, and I answered just as it is. Then the king approached the fortunate one and questioned him. Right there, the awakened one answered just as I had answered. This is the story here. Then later, when the teacher was sitting in Jeta's wood, in placing the nuns successively in their different positions, he placed the elder nun Khema at the foremost of those having great wisdom.